This lesson contained a lot of the individual parts that make up the insurance contract puzzle. Provisions that are either mandatory or optional within the policy. Language that must be used by the carrier. Clauses contained within the contract. Riders that may be added to alter the coverage under the base policy. Exclusions to the coverage, and more. There are also timeframes associated with provisions and clauses. Certain things must be done within certain periods of time. If there is a loss, an insured must provide a notice of claim to the insurer, submit the proper claims forms, and provide the carrier with a proof of loss form, all within certain periods of time. But timeframes don't just concern a client. The insurance company also has certain timeframes as mandated by law. Remember, state-specific timeframes will be fully detailed in the state laws and rules section of this course. When you get there, please make sure to study your state's requirements thoroughly. We also looked at what happens if the insurer wants to perform a physical health exam on an insured with an ongoing claim, and the insurer's right to conduct a post-mortem examination if desired. Remember, any examination requested by the insurer must be paid for by the insurer and is not the responsibility of the insured. The next section dealt with coinsurance provisions found in medical expense policies. Coinsurance is primarily a major medical expense policy issue, but can easily come into play with PPOs, and in certain instances, HMOs. Make sure you know how to apply coinsurance percentages and the math related to concerns. They're likely to appear on your test. One important issue commonly overlooked by producers are concerns surrounding age and gender misstatements. These misstatements can have a seriously negative impact on claims payments, so you should know the negative consequences of them and be able to explain them to prospective insureds. We dove into premiums, free looks, and other important provisions like grace periods. You must be knowledgeable in these areas in order to properly educate and inform your clients. There have been numerous court cases where a producer was held liable for not properly explaining potential issues, such as exclusions, important conditions, critical timeframes, and coverage features to an insured. You are the professional, and a client will rely on your knowledge and expertise to guide them properly. The course explored exclusions for pre-existing conditions, and you learned only certain policies are still able to exclude coverage for pre-existing medical concerns. The Affordable Care Act took care of these concerns in most instances, but remember, the ACA deals with medical coverage and doesn't include protections for policies like disability, long-term care, and more. We then explored a few of the more common riders used in the industry. Keep in mind that the riders in the course are just a small sample of those available throughout the industry. Whether you have the availability of certain riders depends on the insurance company you work with, as not all offer the same riders. The lesson concluded with renewability provisions. There are some substantial differences depending on the provisions used in the policy. Due to the ACA, medical expense policies must be guaranteed renewable. But as mentioned, there are other types of health policies that are not governed under the ACA. Look at disability income policies and how insurers are not required to issue a policy if certain underwriting and other requirements aren't met. ACA policies are not only guaranteed renewable, but are also guaranteed issue policies.